everybody, Crystal Beaudry here with Crystal's Clean Kitchen, where we help make clean eating a lifestyle. So we have a recipe for you today. It's banana bread. Now you may be asking yourself, what's so special about your banana bread? Well, number one, this recipe is completely grain-free and sugar-free. Now, most of the time you add a lot of white sugar to a banana bread recipe, and while it does taste good, it just raises your glycemic index way too high. So we use honey instead of white sugar. And then the second thing is, a lot of times you use white flour, which for people that have either celiac disease or some people just flour doesn't agree with them. And so we have a mixture of almond flour, cassava flour, and tapioca flour. Now those three mixture will make this taste very, very similar to white flour, but of course it's grain-free. So I love that about this recipe. The next thing is that it has cottage cheese in it. I know that sounds crazy, but cottage cheese tastes so amazing in this, and it gives it a lot of extra protein to it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, but do me a huge favor and hit that like button. All right, so here is all of the ingredients that you need. We're gonna be starting with 1 cup of some cottage cheese, and we're gonna also need 2 bananas, 2 super ripe bananas. Now what I do is every time it gets to that point, I just peel the bananas and then put them in the freezer, so mine will be a little mushy. For our flour, we are going to be using 1 cup of some almond flour, a 1/2 cup of some cassava flour, and a 1/2 cup of some tapioca flour. Now both of those flours you can get from Thrive Market if you have that in your area. They're the cheapest that I have found on Thrive Market. Then we're going to be needing 1 teaspoon of some baking soda, 2 eggs. Now of course I'm going to be adding in some chocolate chips in mine, probably about a 1/2 cup, but you don't need to if you don't want to, that's kind of up to you. I'm also going to be using 1 teaspoon of some Celtic Sea Salt and 1 tablespoon of some vanilla. And then for our sweetener, we are going to be using 1/4 cup of some honey. Now you could use any kind of sweetener that you prefer and it will work out perfectly. Okay, let's get started. We are gonna start by mixing together our dry ingredients. So this is my cup of some almond flour. I have my 1/2 cup of cassava flour. And then I need a 1/2 cup of some tapioca flour. Now I personally love mixing these together because it's gonna give this the perfect texture that you won't even realize that this recipe is completely grain-free. Then we need 1 teaspoon of some baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of salt, depending upon how much salt you prefer. We're gonna mix this together and then do our wet ingredients. So I've put my 2 bananas into the mixer. Then I'm gonna add my cup of cottage cheese. Now I personally love using cottage cheese. It just gives this a little bit more protein in this dish and it works out great, I think. 2 eggs, a tablespoon of some vanilla, and then 1/4 cup of some honey. I'm gonna mix this together for a little bit before we add in the flour. And also to make sure that my banana is not super frozen still. I'm also going to be beating this. I could have probably done just the cottage cheese and the banana together to kind of make sure that the cottage cheese doesn't still have those curdles in it. But I just decided to do it like this, and I will be beating this for a couple of minutes. We beat that for a while. Now we're gonna be adding our flour. I like to always do it kind of slowly so that it incorporates a little bit better. Maybe do 1/2 at one time and then 1/2 at the next. After you combine it, make sure that you're scraping down the sides and the bottom just to make sure that there's no clumps. I'm also gonna be adding my chocolate chips now. All right, here's what the consistency looks like. It's not super thin, so that's good. It's not crazy thick either. I could almost add a little bit more almond flour, maybe like 1/8 cup or something, but I think I'm just gonna leave it because it looks pretty good. Now here is the baking dish that I use. It is a silicone baking dish and I use it for everything. All of my keto breads that I make, any sort of banana bread or zucchini loaf, whatever I use, I love this one. I'll make sure to link that in the description because seriously, I have used it so much. All right, so I will be putting this in the oven at 350 degrees for 50 to 60 minutes until the inside comes out clean when you stick a toothpick in it. All right, so I took this out of the oven. I let it cool down for over an hour. Now look at why I love this silicone thing so much. Just kind of pops right out. Beautiful. Look at that. So awesome. Let's cut into it. Now, how I love doing this bread is I love cutting off kind of bigger chunks, and then if I eat this the next day, I like to heat it either in the toaster oven or even just the toaster and put some butter on it, and it tastes amazing. Oh, this looks so good. Cannot wait for our taste test. The kids are very excited to eat it. You guys ready for our taste test?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. We also, like I said, like to spread butter on it. It's so good.
The banana bread is so good.
I love the chocolate in it. The texture is so good. What, buddy?
You can't tell there's cottage cheese in it.
I know, you really can't tell there's cottage cheese in it at all. Well, you guys, this was actually super easy to make. So try making it today. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure to do that. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And of course, stay tuned for some more great recipes. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.